Alright, I want to show you guys a little trick on these little poulan 2300 AVs. These saws here, little top handle poulans. The oilers on these are kind of odd. They use the crankcase pressure, and it goes through this little piece here. There's a screen on the bottom, and then the hole right there. I believe it's called a banjo bolt. But that banjo bolt goes right here. You can actually see the crank in there. I might be able to show you. If you look down in the hole, see the other little hole in there? That lets the pressure blow through there into the oil tank. And then there's a hose that connects to here on this little piece. Let's see if I can find it. Focus. Oh, come on. Focused enough. And it takes a piece of line like this. And then this piece of line connects to that hose and goes to this little hole right here where your oil comes out. A lot of people will take the case apart to do this. I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. Thick piece of wire. I don't even know what kind of wire this is, but it fits perfectly inside this hose. Melt one end of it shut. Right there. And then thread that wire all the way down into that. All the way to the end. Melt it shut. After you get that end melted shut, you want to use a piece way longer than you need, because you can always just cut it off and to whatever point you need after you attach it to here and stuff it back down into the oil tank. There, you can see it a little better. Once you get that melted shut, you gotta make sure you get all the old hose out of the hole there. If it falls in the oil tank, who cares? It won't hurt nothing. See how it's sticking out the one end, so we got something to hold on to. So you're not just pushing on the hose. And then just start pushing it down in the hole. You can get it in there pretty far. Need more bend in it. There's a nice bend in it, so that way you can get it to curl out your hole. Like I was saying, once you get this in there, so far, pretty much to where it stops, take your metal line, pull it down on it, and pull your metal line out of it. That's gonna make me look like a sucker now. I usually get it to go right away. There we go. Bam. Then all you're left to do is reach in there and with a better pick than this. Let's see if I got one here. I know I got one. This one here. Chip in there till you can grab a hold of the other end. But you got a good grab on it. Ah! It's hard to grab something covered in oil. Get a good grab on it. Pair of pliers, whatever you need to hold it. Pull on this one. And just pull that line right through it. And you got plenty of line. Always help to have a sharp knife. It's a pretty common problem with these. To do this, there we go. Simple as that. Take your sump, whatever you want to call it, filter. Put it on your line. Don't worry about this piece hanging out. We'll trim that up when we get to it. Get that pushed on there. Easy. Put it back in the hole. These tend to leak around here if they still have the factory gaskets on because they're cork. You would think because the oil's on there it would help that cork swell up, but it actually just gets kind of hard and brittle and really smashed. You know, I don't know if you can see how flat that is. Anyway. Two little screws. Usually when that line breaks down inside there, there's no more resistance. If it breaks off of the pickup, not the oil hole, if it breaks off the oil hole, it won't oil unless it's leaning over on its side. If it breaks off of the sump down here and it's still connected up here, it will over oil and it will just, it'll dump it out of there. It'll leave puddles just sitting there. Because, like I said, this crankcase pushes pressure out of there into the oil tank. When you do this, it's easier to take this clutch off if you're taking out your banjo bolt. I always take this out and clean it out, make sure there's no debris in there, plugging it up, because I don't want to go through all this trouble and have to come back and do it again. So that's a mandatory for me. You just blow out that little hole right there and it'll blow right through the screen that's in the end of the bolt. Once you get that piece on there and your line's in there, I better get a razor blade for this. Okay, got the razor blade. Had to go and search for one. Just cut it off flush, just like that. And I take my pick and I just push it down in there ever so slightly. Just be careful you don't poke it all the way through. You gotta start the process all over again. And that sucks. And it'll look like that when you're done. Right there. This camera here, there we go. Right here's what you're looking at, right there. Let's push down into there so it's not flush with this bottom, it's flush with the indent right there, that little oil cavity. Once you get that done, after you clean out your piece, which desperately needs cleaned, goes right back in the hole. I just had a still 011 in here that I fixed for a customer. I should have recorded it and showed you guys what we did to it. I had a messed up pull starter and wouldn't run and this and that, missing screws, anti-vibe mounts was messed up. Needed a carb kit. Somebody had it, was able to keep it running, but they had the hijet turned almost 4 complete rotations out. But it was a good cutter once we was done. I would have liked to have that saw actually. Made a good climbing saw. For me anyway. I don't get in a hurry. I just use what I can get. Clutch comes off the same way it went on. Washer first. The bearing is actually still inside the clutch. Probably ought to wipe this off where it was leaking so much oil it was just coating everything. The whole saw. Looks good to me. Thought about maybe hit that with a little bit of sandpaper, but I think it's good. Yeah, that'll be just fine. Washer first. Careful the needles don't fall out of these. They do have a steel cage bearing, but still they get a little wore out. Sometimes they fall out there. Big washer goes in behind the clutch. Clutch goes onwards, facing out. Somebody's probably going to give me a hard time for this, but I don't use no special tools to take these on and off. I've probably showed you guys before, but take my scrunch and give it a couple good smacks. That's good. Because once it starts running, it's only going to tighten itself on there, so. This saw does not have a safety brake, which I like. Get some of this crud off of there. Put a Carlton bar on this one. And chain, brand new Carlton chain, brand new Carlton bar. Little 14-inch. I had a 16 on here, but it was too big. Now this was brand new half hour ago. That's how much oil was coming out of this thing. It was dripping off the bar. Come on. I got stuck behind the clutch there. There we go. Well, shoot. Make me look like a fool on camera. There we go. I like to get it a little bit close. Always pick up on the nose when you're tightening these up, because as soon as you let that pressure off that nose, it comes down. It loosens it right up. So that's pretty close. Scrunch. Single stud. I don't like the single studs as much as the double, but I don't think there's too many more options in this saw. I think they's all single stud. And there's a screw at the back. This one I took some of the baffles out of the muffler. Had I think 2 or 3 baffles in it. 2 maybe. But I take I don't know, probably half of them. If there was 3, I took 2 out. If there was 2, I took 1 out. Easy as pie. That whole repair took maybe 20 minutes, if that. Pretty simple. Well, it's done. I'm gonna put some oil in it and see how it oils. Make sure it ain't dumping way too much oil out, because I mean it was dumping it out. I'm gonna set up a little log too so I can cut with it just to make sure. But it should be good to go. Yeah, always spilling it. Never fails. Works like a champ. Oils like it should. No more puddles. Before, you could set that thing there and you could watch it drip out of there. I mean, it'd pour out. You could even set it on the ground, and just from the pressure buildup in the tank, it would just puddle it. But good to go. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button, and hopefully this helps somebody. If you got any better ideas than the way I did it, feel free to tell me how you all do it. But that's about the easiest way I found to do things with them saws, on them oil lines anyway. Once again, thanks for watching.